Hey Dom, this is Dave Decide. Today I want to get into BTS and specifically Jungkook. There was this conversation about how BTS treats black people, and there's always these rumors like that they treat black people badly, and I wanted to get into these comments and discuss. I also want to get into words that BTS would say to a girl they like. So, hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumplings, he's spilling milk merch, and let's get into it. I think the most shocking thing about BTS is seeing them before and after. Like, they were almost completely different people and different artists compared to what they were when they debuted to now. I think a lot of K-pop artists have changed a lot. Before, it seemed like they were going for this more urban street look and music style where it was mostly hip-hop, and the rappers of BTS mainly had their spotlight because it was very in to make that type of music. But now it seems the members dress more subtly, like less big chains and in-your-face accessories, and a lot more music nowadays goes into this pop singing style. But what is actually the most shocking to a lot of ARMYs and people who have watched them grow is their interaction on TV and what they used to do in interviews. In Korean interviews, they like to have the idols do weird things. There's so many idols that interviewers can't rely on the fact that it's a famous person on their show, and that is enough to get ratings. They have to have the idol do interesting things. And so one interview, they had BTS go up to this fake mannequin thing and show everyone what they would say to a girl after a date and how they would give some words to her. And people found this shocking and funny at the same time. The first person to go up was RM, and he whispered to the mannequin that it was a fun time and he had a good time. And me quickly Googling how I can become that mannequin right now. What is more funny to me is how they all automatically chose to whisper to the mannequin. Who goes into someone's ear after a date and whispers? Like you're afraid others will hear that you enjoyed yourself? Jin went up next and then just said thank you. Suga went up and went full out to say that he wanted to walk her to her apartment and that it seemed dangerous for her to be alone. J-Hope started to wrap his hands around her and really went in and got in the mood. And it was just like, yeah. And then Jimin went ahead and he gave his response, and it was just hilarious. He decided to go more for the we're friends approach and just said, go home safely, and patted her on the head. The members reacted to Jimin to say that he is not a teacher, but this was supposed to be more of a romantic thing. And I guess teachers in Korea do that. Taeyang went ahead and started cleaning the mannequin's ears and just said, let's date. And then he was reminded that the date had just ended, to which he said again that he had fun. I would still say let's date at the end of a date though, because maybe you want another date. Now, I don't know if they did this for comedic purposes, but this should be evidence that they don't date much. And lastly, we have Jungkook, who just went ahead and said, I love you. You know, I have totally done that too on a first date. If you are not ready to get married after the first date, then there is no point in that date. I think I can get a pretty good idea of someone from their first date, and we can just go ahead and get married. I love that when you put BTS in these hilariously awkward and weird situations, they always do something really funny. A lot of K-pop memes are just not funny, or a lot of K-pop moments are not as funny. And a lot of them require you to know or really like the group before the joke or the meme is actually funny. But with these moments, it would be awkward and funny to watch whether you were an ARMY or not. And I like that because you can show this to anyone and they'll find it endearing. This is what makes them so lovable. But also, they too love everyone. They definitely do not pick and choose who to be nice to or who they help, and try to help everyone and really fight for this idea of equality among others. They experience firsthand what racism is like for Asians in America. They definitely do not want other races to experience the same thing. People always talk about BTS and their treatment towards black people, and this topic may be controversial, I am not sure, but I personally think they treat black people really well. But that is not what all the people in the ARMY fandom think. And I know people are going to be like, haters will hate and people will just say anything. But no one says BTS treats white people badly. So this does mean that there's some black people who genuinely feel like they are genuinely treated badly. So why is this the case? Every so often the hashtag #BlackoutArmy, #BlackoutBTS, or Black Army, or some variation of that, which ends up trending on Twitter with hundreds to potentially even millions of people tweeting photos of themselves being a black army. This to me shows that there is potentially a lot of discrimination in the fan culture, that a lot of black people feel the need to come out and say something about their treatment. K-pop is also known to be culturally appropriating. Being a black person has to be very difficult in Korean culture. You love Korean culture, you want to support and enjoy the music and stuff, but Korean culture and a lot of Asian culture by nature can sometimes be a bit racist. I know firsthand that Asian culture can be a little racist. So this trend is necessary, and it also brings to attention that there's a lot of black armies and those who are hateful towards black people need to stop this, because it's a huge part of the the fandom, and if ARMYs consider themselves family, you don't want to hurt other family. Also, just a quick note, and not really related, but I think there's things that a lot of people say a long time ago that are assumed as racist now, but were never actually racist at the time. For example, when people bring up a celebrity or idol that has mentioned something years ago that comes across racist, you have to keep in mind that there was no way to know at the time that the specific quote-unquote joke was considered oppressive because everyone was making it. Because it was just a different time back then. And I'm sure we've all said things that we would never say in a million years now, but we have said them before. I personally never made jokes about other races, but I did about my own race. And looking back, I thought it was okay because it's like, it's my race. But it's not okay. It makes it almost normal and normalizes racism, and it just perpetuates itself. But I want to say this is my opinion and open for conversation and just another perspective I wanted to add. BTS, I think, it does not have any discrimination or hate in their hearts towards other races. They have donated $1 million to BLM, and I know people always say you can donate, but that doesn't mean you're not racist. Now, please listen carefully because this is the most important thing I've ever said. The act of donating BLM is to help underserved Black communities and help fight police brutality. But a lesser known part of these organizations is to just highlight inequality on all counts. If you're donating to a Black organization, you are actively saying, I'm aware that Black people in several Black communities are underserved, and I'm actively choosing to give back and support the organization that are helping serve this community. A lot of Black people live in what the governments call a food desert, which means they live miles and miles away from a supermarket, and especially ones with fresh foods. And a lot of the communities can't afford cars, so that means they go without food. Donating means you level the playing field and level regular communities with these underserved ones, and those areas get to open a supermarket. Opening one with more fresh foods will in turn help the community eat better, be healthier, and open jobs to make more money for those communities. Actions like this will help eradicate racism. So imagine what $1 million can do. BTS donating to BLM is not just them giving money and being like, okay, whatever, I'm not racist, bye. It's them actively understanding that this issue can only be solved with a lot of money and then giving it. However, there's still this conversation of, would BTS members or Jungkook ever date a Black person, and why do people believe that they won't? Full acceptance of a race means that you support and you treat them like any other person, meaning date them too. There's even forum posts questioning how BTS treats Black people, and these claims never come from anywhere. But it's just this idea that a lot of people think Koreans all hate Black people, and that is not true. There's of course Koreans that do, but it's not all of them, and as we're evolving as people, there's different people who think differently. BTS has never publicly said they hated Black people, and the way they treat their Black fans at fan meets and whatnot shows how much they love Black people. Back in their earlier days, they did a show called American Hustle Life. They flew to LA to film it and just got to experience American life. And the host of the show was a Black girl, and BTS loved her. They couldn't stop flirting with her, they loved joking with her, and it was great. Many people like to bring up this idea that BTS wouldn't date a Black person because of some of the things they have said involving their type. So saying things that they would prefer a girl to look a certain way, and a lot of it sounds like they're thinking of a Korean girl. But this is normal. Growing up around Korean girls, you're probably going to think of marrying them. And when they were teenagers and whatnot, they probably had in their mind that they were going to marry a Korean girl, given that they probably hadn't had many interactions with a lot of people of different colors before. Jungkook had also talked about wanting a girl that he can bring back to the family and talk to the family with. And of course, his family doesn't speak English, so he would need someone who can speak Korean. This, of course, makes people think that he can't be with a Black person, but there's plenty of Black people in Korea that speak Korean. There's also other moments where it's clear that members do not have anything against Black people, and they even actively listen and support Black artists. Hobie was seen allegedly with Tinashe on his computer background screen, and I don't think any of the members would choose to shoo away Beyonce if she ever came and hit on them. I do wonder if Jungkook was dating Beyonce, if Beyonce would get death threats. Like, good luck. Send Beyonce some death threats and watch her descend from the heavens and slap you. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thank you to this lovely comment right here. Love you so much. Bye.